Devotion, I touched on Samaritans, so I thought I would pick up on them today. But by way of background to where the Samaritans came from, they come from the tribes of the two sons of Joseph, Ephraim and Manasseh, and until the 1960s included Joseph's baby brother Benjamin. So you see the spiritual arrogance, ignorance and arrogance that evolved out of this, because none of these three were of the 12 nations of Israel. And by Jesus' day walking on earth, it had developed into a arrogancy. You know, those Samaritans, they're worse than dogs. Yeah. They thought nothing good could come out of Samaria. And now, does that not sound a bit like 1 Corinthians 1:12? Now this I say, that every one of you saith, I'm of Paul, I'm of Apollos, I'm of Cephas, Peter, I'm of Christ. Yeah. Yeah. It was so bad, Paul said, you know what, I'm glad I didn't baptize any of you. Today it's evolved into, well, I'm a Baptist, I'm a Methodist, I'm a Pentecostal, I'm a Lutheran, etc., etc., etc. But it's spiritual pride and arrogance. It's foolishness. But anyway, I just want to, touch on a few of these dogs, as the Israelites called them. In John 4:28 through 30, this is where Jesus meets the woman at the well, and he says, where's your husband? I don't have a husband. Ah, you've said well, because you got 5 and the one you have now is not your own. But as she began to talk to Jesus, she recognized he was Messiah. And in verse 28, the woman then left her water pot, went her way into the city, and says to the men, come and see a man which told me all the things I ever did. Is not this the Christ? Then they went out of the city and came unto him. So she believed, and she went immediately witnessing and bringing others. She was a soul winner for Jesus. Yes, this dog Samaritan. And of course, my personal favorite is Luke 10:30 through 34. And Jesus answered and said, a certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell among thieves, which stripped him of his raiment and wounded him and departed, leaving him half dead. And by chance there came down a certain priest that way, and when he saw him, he passed on the other side. I don't want anything to do with that dirty, beat-up guy there. He's a bum. He looks like a bum. And likewise a Levite, when he was at the place, came and looked at him, and he passed on the other side too. These spiritual leaders couldn't be bothered with this unclean man that had been beaten up, was bloody, and looked like he was almost dead. But in 33, a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came to where this man was, and when he saw him, he had compassion on him. And he went to him, and he bound up his wounds, pouring in the oil and wine, set him on his own beast, and brought him to an inn, and took care of him. But he did not stop at that. In verse 35, and on the morrow when he departed, he took out 2 pence, gave them to the host, and said to him, take care of him, and whatsoever you spend more, when I come back, I will repay you. Folks, these 2 Samaritans, they were far better godly people than any of the people that Jesus had to deal with in the synagogue. Yet they were forbidden to worship in the synagogue because they were so unclean and dirty. Oh, don't have a Pharisee spirit. I'm so proud because I'm a member of such and such denomination. I'm a member of such and such church. I. Be humble and loving. Be kind. Because that Samaritan that you might be tempted to look down your nose at might be much closer to Jesus than you are. God bless.